This is the Piper Malibu Mirage, the aircraft many still consider the ultimate piston single. Its 350 horsepower Lycoming TIO-540 engine lets you cruise at altitudes up to 25,000 feet and true airspeeds as fast as 225 knots. And with a full load of fuel and a long-range cruise power setting, Piper claims the Mirage can fly 3 people about 1,450 nautical miles and land with IFR fuel reserves. When it first appeared in the mid-1980s, the Piper Malibu was a head-turner. Aside from its ramp appeal, pilots were intrigued with its high-flying pressurized cabin, 200-knot cruise speed, and its impressive range. There was nothing quite like it, and Piper soon found a loyal market for its new flagship product, mostly among well-to-do owners who could afford to sink $500,000 into a new single and who flew the kind of missions where the Malibu shine. Pressurizing a single isn't easy. Mooney's Mustang was a bust, and Cessna pulled it off using a proven airframe in the P210. But it had its growing pains. Piper's execution left something to be desired. Although owners generally raved and still rave about the Malibu's impressive capabilities, it gained a reputation as a problem airplane. The engine and systems were finicky to operate, and dispatch reliability ranged from barely acceptable to just awful for some years. As the model evolved and became the Mirage, its reputation didn't improve. Indeed, some owners believe that with the Mirage, Piper jumped from the pan into the fire, especially with regard to engine longevity or lack of it. Yet with time and the application of money, most of the problems got sorted out. And the fact remains, nothing quite does what a Malibu does. Stay with us till the end of the video, because here is everything you need to know about the Piper Malibu Mirage. Stepping inside, the Piper Mirage has, in most respects, only gotten better over time. While the airframe and pressurization system are largely the same as it was in 1983, nearly every other part of the airplane, from the brakes to the interior to the engine to the avionics, has been upgraded over the years. Starting with the cabin dimensions, the Malibu Mirage provides a width of 4 feet and 2 inches, or 1.27 meters, which is quite generous for a single-engine aircraft. The cabin height stands at 3 feet and 10 inches, or 1.17 meters, while the overall cabin length from cockpit divider to the rear pressure bulkhead measures 12 feet and 3 inches, or 3.73 meters. The interior is a noteworthy step up from other 6-seat piston airplanes. As much as you can love Piper Saratogas, Lances, and Cherokee 6s with club seating, the Mirage offers an entirely different world of comfort. And Piper has, during the past several years, gotten the interior just right, making it comfortable while keeping the weight down as much as practical. The standard layout includes plush, club-style seating that can accommodate up to 5 passengers in the main cabin area. These seats are not only designed for comfort, but also provide adjustable backrests, and the high-quality leather upholstery adds a touch of elegance and ease. The result is a cabin in which you can relax during the few hours it takes to travel a typical 700 nautical mile trip. Even with reduced fuel and 4 adults for shorter trips, to around 500 nautical miles, the cabin is still quite livable, even if the legroom is not quite up to Gulfstream standards. The pressurization system is capable of maintaining a sea-level cabin altitude up to an altitude of 13,000 feet or 4,000 meters. LED lighting options provide a pleasant ambiance and are adjustable to suit different times of day or night, with each seating position featuring individual air vents and reading lights. And finally, baggage space is generous, with 2 baggage bays, one just aft of the engine compartment and the other behind the rear seats, making loading within limits easier. Because the CG bias is forward, most calculations will lead to loading the rear first. The aircraft includes side panels with integrated storage compartments that are ideal for personal items. Additionally, there is a baggage compartment accessible from the outside, which can hold up to 100 pounds or 45 kilograms of luggage, sufficient for several suitcases and travel essentials. Now, let's step into the cockpit. As with all the PA-46s, you get into the Mirage through the air stair door, which you close behind you. This is not something, by the way, that you would have the passengers do, although there are sensors to warn if the door is not closed. It's not hard to work your way up to the pilot seats, and once there, the comfort is excellent. This is, after all, primarily an owner-flown airplane, so getting the pilot seats right was critical. And Piper got them right. They are highly adjustable and nicely padded, and they offer the kind of head, shoulder, and elbow room that are especially appreciated on those maximum range legs. Of all the systems on the airplane, finding a satisfying avionics solution took the longest time. From the excellent previous generation King system in the first Malibus, through the Megate years, and onto the Aviation era, the Mirage, along with the other PA-46s, has gone through a lot of panel changes. Some changes have been welcomed more by customers than others. The G1000 panel in today's Mirage answers all the critics. Indeed, it's hard to imagine what kind of capability a customer might want that isn't a standard or optional feature on the Mirage. Just in terms of aesthetics, the Garmin glass is spectacular, with a pair of 10.4-inch PFDs with Garmin's synthetic vision technology and a giant 15-inch MFD in the center. There's an autopilot controller just under the MFD, which takes a little getting used to if you're accustomed to reaching for it on the glare shield, and a data entry keypad that makes entering waypoints and frequencies quick and easy. The cabin pressure, by the way, is not handled through the G1000, as it is on some airplanes, no doubt because Piper was already happy with its admittedly simple and elegant controls. Also, there's no key, just a start switch, another very turbine touch. There are dual adders and air data computers, as well as dual audio panels, all supplied by Garmin. As standard or optional equipment, customers get Garmin Safe Taxi airport diagrams, Bendix King Active Traffic, TOSB terrain awareness, XM satellite weather and audio, Jeppesen ChartView instrument approach charts, and more. It's a remarkably capable panel, as we've all come to expect from the G1000. The Piper 350, introduced in 2015 as the evolution of the Mirage, comes with a Garmin G1000 NXI avionics suite, an upgraded version of the legacy G1000 glass flight deck platform, and includes dual 10.4-inch primary flight displays and one 12.1-inch multifunction display, and a whole lot of capability. There is more processing power in the M350 avionics, as well as higher resolution displays and an enhanced operational feature such as Surface Watch runway identification and wireless cockpit connectivity via Connext. Standard equipment in the M350 also includes synthetic vision and a yaw damper. The aircraft's safety systems are probably the most often mentioned features, including a pulse oximeter. In the event of hypoxia-induced loss of control, the autopilot will enforce safe flying parameters by starting an automated descent to a safer altitude. It will also prevent the aircraft from stalling if it is traveling too slowly, seizing control and lowering the nose, which should motivate the pilot to add more power. The electronic stability protection system provides additional flight envelope protection from roll-up sets, while hand flying by automatically engaging servos to input corrective forces, should the pilot encroach upon safe limits. A further neat Garmin innovation is the big blue LVL button on the instrument panel, which serves as a sort of panic button to quickly return the aircraft to a wings level attitude with zero vertical speed. The M350 employs the GFC 700 autopilot to aid in the approach and landing. The GFC 700 flight control system is finally a fitting autopilot for such a capable airplane. You get airspeed hold, vertical speed, fully coupled operation including LPV approaches, and navigation steering. The autopilot transitions from en route flying to the terminal area using WAAS GPS-based guidance from the NXI system. It has a 3-degree glide path that can be autopilot coupled down to pilot-selectable minimums for most runways. When the weather is clear, the NXI series improves situational awareness by including visual approach capabilities. Now let's talk about the engine, performance specifications, and how it flies. The Piper Malibu Mirage is powered by a Lycoming TIO-540 AE2A engine with a TBO of 2,000 hours, delivering 350 horsepower. The aircraft requires 2,100 feet or 640 meters of runway to take off at sea level on a standard day, and using a typical cruise climb setting, 125 knots in the airspeed select, the so-called filch button, on the GFC 735 inches of manifold pressure and 2,500 RPM will give you an impressive initial rate of climb of about 1,220 feet per minute, and then from 4,000 feet to 20,000 feet, the rate of climb usually drops to around 1,000 FPM. At the airplane's sweet spot between FL 200 and FL 230, you get very good true airspeeds at a reasonable fuel flow, just over 200 knots true at 20 gallons per hour or 75 liters per hour. If there's a big advantage to be gained, in terms of weather avoidance or to get a push by climbing higher, the airplane does fine up to its ceiling of 25,000 feet or 7,620 meters, though the fuel flow goes up a bit to manage the temperatures, especially on warm days. This is not an airplane for pilots who might occasionally venture up into the mid-teens or flight levels. It's all about flying high. Like most airplanes, the Malibu is not a fill-the-seats-and-tanks six-seater, but it will comfortably carry 4 people and baggage with full tanks, yielding a non-stop range of about 1,400 nautical miles or 2,600 kilometers. Typical useful loads are 1,300 pounds or 590 kilograms, and the full fuel payload is 540 pounds or 250 kilograms. Mirage pilots have plenty of tools at their disposal for getting back down without chopping power. Gear speeds are high enough that typically even a slight reduction of power gets you down to first-notch deployment speeds, and approach flaps can come in at the same speed. There are also speed brakes, great for descending at a rapid clip without pulling back on the throttle too much. One of the toughest transitions for many pilots of high-performance airplanes coming to the Mirage as their first pressurized ride is getting used to using rates of descent that in non-pressurized airplanes would overtax their ears or those of their passengers. In the Mirage, it's not an issue. Those same devices, gear, flaps, and speed brakes give the Mirage pilot the ability to keep the speed up when ATC makes that request. The Mirage lands like the cabin-class airplane it is. That is, you fly a stabilized approach to an attitude in landing, much as you would in a heavier, faster airplane. That said, many pilots new to the airplane tend to want to approach a bit too fast. The Mirage flies very solidly at Cirrus-like approach numbers, and actually lands more predictably and easily at those speeds than when flown a bit faster. And finally, the aircraft has a minimum landing distance of 1,970 feet or 600 meters. Now let's talk about the price and cost. The base purchase price for a new Piper Malibu Mirage or M350 is $1.5 million before options. And while the price for a used Mirage ranges from $800,000 to $1.2 million, the price for a pre-owned M350 is $1.2 million to $1.7 million. If you wish to charter, the price is estimated at $800 to $1,200 per hour, while the total fixed cost is estimated at $80,000 to $120,000. The average hourly operating cost is estimated at $400 to $600. Thank you for staying with us till the end. Here are 2 videos you can watch next. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.